book friends, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for stopping by for today's video. I'm Kat. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out with us here on my channel. The book we're going to talk about today is the fourth book in the series. If you've been keeping up with my channel, it is the Virtue... Oh, there goes Macy kicking the camera. It is the Virtue and Lies series by Alexandra Silva. This is the fourth book, like I said. It's titled Smoke. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that we're at the fourth book, and actually this was supposed to be the last book. And as she was writing, it just has now turned into there's another book after this because she couldn't contain all that is Freddie and the squad in this last book. Freddie decided he had a lot to say, I guess. Smoke is about Freddie and Georgina. I have to be honest in saying that I wasn't really... I don't want to say not interested because that sounds terrible, because I love Alexandra's writing. I've talked about her on my channel a lot. I will continue to like her writing. It's not about the writing. Oh, there she goes again. Sorry. It's about Freddie. Freddie scared me as a character. We, of course, met him back in the first book, which is Burn. As it's all an interconnected series, we've seen Freddie and got to know, or not, Freddie all through these other books. I just was worried. Like, Freddie is a lot, I'll be honest. I just wasn't sure about him. Freddie completes the circle of the characters. The first book, Burn, was about Leo and Cassie. The second book, Scorch, was about Christopher and Arabella. I have a special place in my heart for Christopher and Arabella. If I had to pick a book that would be my favorite out of the series, I think it would be their book. It's just so emotional, and it just has never let go of my heart. The third book is Blaze, which is, of course, about Casper and Fleur. And now we have Smoke, which is Freddie and Georgina. And then we're going to have Flame. I will, of course, be doing a video on Flame, but sticking with Smoke for the time being, Freddie is a lot. Freddie is... See, I can't even describe him. Freddie is an enigma to me, most certainly, and to everyone around him. He's fiercely loyal. He's violent. He's a man of few words. He's harsh. He's brash. He does not spare anyone's feelings. He is a truth speaker. He takes broody to a whole new level. You never have to doubt his intentions because he speaks and acts the truth. And it's not even like so much that it's his truth, because of course it is, but it's also his role in that group and what he brings to the table. He's very confident in himself and his part in their group. And so when he speaks the truth and acts in a certain way, they trust him. They all trust each other. They have to be in the world that they are in, and to keep the connection that they have. These men live and die for each other. They will kill for each other and their families. They have been raised to live a certain life. Now, the interesting thing about that is Georgina, who is Arabella and Casper's little sister, and we know them from the previous books, she's never been part of their world. And here she is in a relationship of some sort with Freddie, and no one wants her there. Everyone wants to protect her and keep her out of it. She has her own life. She is a very promising and successful and gifted ballerina. She has made her own way in life, separate from all of their families, and has never had an interest in what they were doing because that was their thing. And all of a sudden with Freddie and what has been happening with them, and we know from the previous books, now she's involved and Freddie is pissed. Freddie doesn't want her there because he knows that once she comes into the fold, she's in danger. And he really doesn't know what to do about that because he is so good with shutting down his feelings and not having feelings, quite frankly. And now all of a sudden, in walks this beautiful swan, Georgina, his light and his dark, quite frankly. And he is thrown and does not know how to balance feelings, love, connection, companionship differently than he's ever had before. And it's a lot for him. Georgina says about Freddie, he's not the enigma he makes himself out to be. Freddie Emsworth is an oxymoron of epic proportions. Ice and fire, heaven and hell, God and monster. There is no in between with him, no either or. And it's so true. In a way that had me have trouble connecting with him. He's so black and white. And that's just not me. I'm very much, I can understand the gray in life. And I don't say I thrive in the gray, but I have worked really hard to live in the gray a little bit and be flexible. Freddie is not flexible at all. The book starts out and we are back at the night. And if you've read the previous books, you know what I'm talking about. I loved being back in the world with everybody. And it reminded me so much of why I love Christopher and why I really do feel like Freddie does know how to love and is loyal, fiercely loyal, and having attributes that I really liked about him. And this is the first passage, and he's talking about Christopher. And he's looking at Christopher in this situation. Christopher, Casper rumbles from behind us. And when I peer over my shoulder at him, he gives me a shake of his head that's meant to remind me of our roles, of my duty to my cousin. There is no line I haven't crossed for him and our brotherhood. No law I won't break, no blood I won't spill. It's why I'm here. His life is in my hands. And then a little bit later, it's the same night. Christopher scoffs bitterly. No, I want blood for blood. My wife's, my daughter's. The audible swallow of his pain chills the thrilled and thirsty pounding in my chest. A life for a life, then. Side glancing at him, I notice the way his bloodied hands fist in front of his stomach, shaking with all the rage he's trying to control. It's killing him, slowly painting his soul as black as mine. I can't let that happen. I swore him an oath, and I'm going to keep it, even if it means taking his justice and revenge from him. And again, it's still about Freddie and Christopher and that night. You're rattled and desperate. I can smell it on you. The whore down the street can probably smell it over her effing stench. This is a side to Christopher you don't often see, but it's my favorite. It's the only time we're anything alike. He's starved for revenge and justice, for answers and reasons. Touching my forehead to his, I tell him, don't let them see it. Guilt swirls in his gaze, clouding the hate and rage as he desperately tries to blink it away. The irony of it all is that he's the most benevolent of all of us. It's a shame he's so broken now, because he was also the strongest one. A shaky breath whooshes from him as his stare flits back up to mine, and he mutters with a cracked voice, I'm done. He's not done. He's never going to be done, and he doesn't get to turn his back on his fate. His birthright, none of us does. Are you ready to die? I ask under my breath. It's the only way you get to walk away from your duties. Mother effer is contemplating it as he looks me in the eyes, knowing that it will be me that has to do it. I won't have a choice. It's my duty. It's why they have me drown him the first time, to prove that I could fulfill my role while he proved that he was willing to sacrifice for his. Get out of here, Christopher. Make good with Arabella and never look at me like that again, because I'll do it. I'll make her an effing widow. I get teary just reading that passage because of so much that I know from their history. And in that moment, Freddie just is black and white, getting Christopher to get grips again and do what he's supposed to do. Sorry, that was Macy. And in a lot of ways, when that happened before, I didn't see it. But reading it now, I know, because I got to know Freddie so much more, how much he loves his brothers. Christopher's his cousin. When I say brothers, I mean the guys, the group. Wow. I just see, and I'm like teary thinking about all that. I wondered when the heck things happened between Freddie and Georgina, because Alex wasn't really showing us that much in Blaze and in Scorch with them. There was little hints, I guess. But then, so I was anxious to read when it was happening in Smoke, because we go back and we get to see things through Freddie's eyes. So that was all very interesting to me. Now, they are explosive together. They are an unlikely pair for as light and artistic and not involved with them that Georgina is, how separate she is, how much she doesn't know, and how much she doesn't know, how that affects how Freddie looks at her, in that he's trying to keep her away from it because it's all bad, and he doesn't want to involve her in their lives, and how torturous that is for him. Their chemistry is like, holy crap. And I have to say that you have to be a little bit careful. And I think Alex did a great job with this, but Freddie is violent, and he's rough, and he's harsh. And he does not treat Georgina in their intimate moments with any tenderness. And I think for some people, it's going to rub people the wrong way. But I think if you know Alex's writing, then you will understand that it's not gratuitous and that it's about the character. But it was funny because within the first couple pages of the book, I already wanted to use her terminology, throat punch him, because he's not nice to her, and and they're being intimate, and he's not nice to her, and it's not beautiful, and it's not love. It's elemental. And I think that that's where I started to understand him more, in how he was in those moments with her. And I know I'm not explaining it well, but he is trying so fiercely to keep her away, but yet she's right there, and he can't help but grasp onto her light and her dark. She goes toe to toe with him throughout this whole book. I was so proud of her because he scared me. She is that strong though. And to go up against him, I was impressed, I have to say. And he pulls every trick in the book to get her out of his life. And I didn't like that part to him, but I understood that part to him in a way I hadn't previously with the other books. Were there moments that I swooned over Freddie? No, there weren't. But I understood him. I saw behind the veil. And that will make me, I think, like him. I'm never going to have a crush on him, but I was so interested in him and drawn to knowing what makes him tick. Why is he the way he is? And I love that Alexandra's writing drew me in like that and made me emotionally feel a certain way about him at the beginning of the book and have it be completely different at the end of the book. That is a gift. That is amazing. That is Alexandra's writing. We don't know much about Georgina. She wasn't really a key player in the first couple books at all. Obviously, she has become a key player in this book, and then of course that will carry over into Flame. But I understood her need for him, the darkness that she had inside of her that he saw, that nobody had ever seen before. And that's why they're drawn to each other. Nobody ever bothered to look at her because she kept her life so separate. That was fine. That was cool beans, you know? but he saw it in her and it changed everything for him. There was a really sweet part where Georgina was talking about Arabella, and here's where you might get a little bit of a spoiler. I knew because, of course, that I read Blaze a little bit about this, but now here it is in smoke, and I was so excited, and it's from Georgina's perspective. And remember, Arabella's her sister, and it's so sweet. Her baby bump is getting bigger every day. It's almost like all I have to do is blink and it grows a tad more. Pregnancy suits Arabella. There's always been a part of me that's jealous over how easily she fits in with the world we've been born into. She embraces it like it's always been her destiny to rule at Christopher's side. Maybe it has. Maybe it's always been her fate. It's certainly what she believes. She lives and breathes his life like it's her religion. Christopher's her religion. He's a god to her. Nothing else matters when it comes to him. Girl, do I worship at the altar of Christopher as well. This is one of those passages where this is where I saw behind Freddie's veil. And to hear him talk about Georgina this way, it meant the world to me. I didn't know that I needed it until I did. So this is from Freddie talking about Georgina. Problem is that she's so effing beautiful with those eyes that see so much more than you ever want her to. That effing pout that's naturally sullen and full enough it's inviting. It's her smile that's the winner though. Even when I'm raging, it disarms me with how sincere it is. No one has ever smiled at me like that before, not even my mother. That's what's dangerous about Georgina. It's what makes me hate her. What makes me want to choke the life out of her. I've spent most of my life being someone people fear and despise enough not to F with. But she comes into my life and it doesn't matter what I do. All the shit she sees and hears, she still wants me. She wants to get closer, burrow under my skin. It's as though she needs the darkness of my soul to balance the bright light of hers. And then this a little bit farther on. Every person that's gone through my life that's ever meant anything has been taken away from me. One way or another, they leave, disappear, or die. Love is a curse. Feelings are premonitions of disaster. They're nothing but the verge of tragedy. The minute you allow them to take hold, you're opening yourself up for disappointment and chaos. This is Freddie's version of the world. Oh my God, how sad is that? And then from Georgina, mostly I hate my silly, reckless heart for falling for the one person that would be guaranteed to break it. Oh my gosh. And the book kind of ends sort of, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but it ends in a place where I was like, oh my gosh, where do we possibly go from here? I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I was like, this is it. How could there be another book after this? What is going to happen now? I was so sad for them. True to Freddie and Georgina form, it's physical, it's emotional. They are fighting tooth and nail. They're doing some other stuff too. And they are being ripped, their hearts are being ripped to shreds. And I just didn't, I don't know where we're going. I don't know how we're going to get to a happily ever after, because I know Alexandra gives us happily ever afters. Oh my gosh. I need to read Flame like ASAP because I need to know where we're going and what we're doing, because my heart can't handle Freddie for very long. I think it sounds like I don't like him, and that is not the case. That is not the case at all. He is, wow. I love that Alexandra can write a character like him, because he was the biggest surprise to me in this book in so many ways. I loved, I know I said it before, seeing behind his veil. Let me know if you have read the Virtue and Lies books. I feel like we've gone through a war with them. Oh my gosh, how is it going to end? I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on the series. I always put a direct to Amazon link for the book in the description box below. I do use a bit.ly link for that because the Amazon link is so stinking long. So make sure if you want to grab the book, you can do it straight from there. I welcome you to come over to my social media, which is Kat Reads Romance on Facebook, Instagram, and now on TikTok. As always, don't forget to subscribe while you're here and give the video a thumbs up. I will see you guys very soon, and stay tuned for Flame, Book 5 in the Virtue and Lies series. See you soon.